Hello, everyone. Good evening. We decided to do this because we had this wonderful blizzard, and I'm not sure if it's playing yet. Okay, I believe we're on. Good evening. I'm Janet Ryan. I'm the founder of SpectraSpray, and I'd like to talk a little bit tonight about heart health. That was our topic. I figured that it's Valentine's month in another week or so, and that we should pay some attention to our heart and some of the nutrients that can support our heart health and really our overall health. It's not just about your heart. Of course, if you do have a situation where you're supporting your heart health, it's very important to know what we're going to talk about tonight. Most people seem to be taking things like vitamin D and some B vitamins, but they're not always aware of some other factors like K2 and what that does for the vitamin D and the calcium, things like that. So let's get started. If anyone has any questions, please put them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer it. So let's just start out with vitamin K2, since that's probably the most common vitamin that people are not aware of. When I started taking vitamin D many years ago, I really started taking it because I realized that I couldn't get it that easily in my food. And living in the Northeast, I wasn't really getting as much sun as I need to, especially in the winter months and in the fall months. But in the last couple of years, I've learned a lot about K2 and what that does for the vitamin D. Some people do know that K2 is really important for bone health because vitamin D, you can take vitamin D and it may or may not absorb. Your levels may not be going up, so you need to get them checked every year. Make sure that your doctor will do that for you. But vitamin K2 will help the D and the calcium absorb into the bones. So it's extremely important for bone health, but it's also important for heart health for two reasons. One, it helps the vitamin D, it's like a conductor, an orchestrator, go where it needs to go, but it also prevents the calcium that you might be taking or that you're eating from your food from calcifying your arteries. So this is really, really super important. And for many years, especially with women, a lot of doctors were recommending that you take a certain amount of calcium. And then they realized just a few years ago that this calcium could be calcifying your arteries. Calcium is a mineral and it can harden. It's a rock. So it's very important that the K2 is with your D3 and able to support the D absorption. So that's why we decided to promote our D3 with K2. We still have our D3 with 5,000 IUs. These are our spray vitamins. I'm sure you're aware. If you're not, here's the regular D3. Not sure if it's going the right way. D3 5,000 IUs. If you're really deficient, you should be taking 5,000. You could also be taking some of this for the K2 or a separate K2 if you needed to. But the way you use them is you just take the cap off, shake it to make sure everything is working together, spray it in your mouth. You could spray it directly in your mouth on the sides of your cheek. It's going to absorb beautifully into the soft tissues, right into your bloodstream. So that being said, if you do have any digestive issues, and a lot of people with heart health issues have digestive issues, and you're not absorbing well, or you're taking an over-the-counter acid reducer, our vitamins, you can count on them absorbing because they're going to go in through the soft tissues in your mouth into your bloodstream. You're not depending on your digestive juices or swallowing it so much so that it goes into your system. So a quick note about vitamin K. There's two Ks. There's a K1 and there's a K2. K2 is the one we're talking about, and if you want to try to get that with foods, you'll find that in dairy, fermented foods. People are familiar with natto, and animal products. So if you are a vegetarian or a vegan, and if you're dairy-free, the fermented foods would be the way to get it from food. Of course, we have it in the spray too. The K1, which is more associated with blood clotting, because a lot of people say to me, oh my gosh, I don't want to have a lot of K. My doctor is concerned that if I have too much K, I'm already on warfarin. And of course, you're going to speak to your doctor about anything you're going to take if you're on any medications. But K1 is the K vitamin that's found in the leafy greens that I hope you're eating, vegetables, and some plant oils. You can do your own research. It's so easy these days. You just put in what is K1, what is K2, why is it important with vitamin D? And there's a lot of easy to read information out there. So one more note about vitamin K. Since it's not that well known, I just wanted to read the definition because it's pretty cool. First of all, it's kind of like a vitamin E because there's a couple of different fat-soluble vitamins, like we already talked about the K1 and the K2. So it's necessary for the production of proteins that are needed for the coagulation of blood and other functions, and it works together or synergistically with vitamin D for bone health and cardiovascular health. The K comes from coagulation with a capital K, which is German for coagulation, meaning the ability for blood to clot and thus prevent hemorrhage. So that was the origin of vitamin K. We don't hear about it a lot, but just wanted to teach you a little bit about K2. Kind of a funny side note, I Googled K2 and I wondered why so many of my search engine optimization words are K2 spray. And I realized there's a K2 out there that's a synthetic cannabinoid. That's completely different than what we're talking about. It's actually dangerous because it's synthetic. So please don't think that we're selling any synthetic cannabinoid. If you do Google K2, please precede it with vitamin K2. It is a vitamin. So I did say that it helps break down the calcium in our bodies. It helps prevent hard deposits. And then, of course, the K1, along with the K2, helps to keep your blood vessels flexible and help with circulation. So let me just see what else I might want to talk about. I want you to just see the D3 with K2 again. This D3 has 2500 D. If you're severely deficient, you might need more than that, or you might use this for a month or two, get your blood levels tested and see if that's enough. Some doctors or integrative nutritionists do feel that you need more than 5,000. Hi, Erica. Thanks for getting on tonight. Love talking with you. And the K2, everything is non-GMO, organic when it can be organic. Usually they're sweetened with xylitol, so they're diabetic safe. And you'll see 30 servings in each of these small tubes, so don't be deceived. And you don't need any water or any food to take it. So the next product I want to talk about, because these two we sell together as our heart health kit that we're talking about tonight, is our Folate Plus. And Folate Plus is 3 different B vitamins that are extremely important for heart health. We could have called this heart health, but I don't want to go over the top with promising. We have to be very careful and read our disclaimer that all this information is not reviewed by the FDA and nothing is meant to treat or cure or prevent or diagnose any disease. So we called it Folate Plus. It has folic acid, which is B9. It has B6, which is really great for heart health also, but it also helps with neurotransmitter support, and B12. And it's a very nice combination of those 3, really, really good for both heart health and really for brain health. Somehow it all works together if your circulation is really good. Hi, Doreen. You take 10,000 a day to keep your D levels up, and you notice that your hair is growing. Isn't that cool? Another side note, if you ever start taking supplements, pills more so, it won't happen with my supplements because they absorb, and you notice that you have hair falling out when you're taking a shower or brushing your hair, stop. Because you are imbalancing something. Something's not getting to where it needs to go. It might be storing in your fat cells, which is not good either. So do be aware. I'm so glad that your hair is growing, Doreen. You have a beautiful head of hair anyway, so that's cool. So a little bit about how B vitamins work together as a family. I pulled some information from the Harvard Health Publishing, Harvard Medical School. One major point with Bs is you need all of them. We do get a lot of them in our food. If we're eating good grains and good greens, we get a lot of really great B vitamins. The healthier grains will have a mixture of various B vitamins. Greens, you know, you'll get folate and some of the others. The B12, you really do have to have either meat or eggs or even from the yeast that you sprinkle on. I can't think of the name of it, but it's vegetarians use it all the time because they don't want to eat meat. Nutritional yeast, and they have them on all different flavors. So that's another way to get B12. But we're talking about people who know that they need extra. You don't just go and take every vitamin that you see out there because it has this benefit and that benefit. You find out either with a certified nutritionist, like we use Donna Galarza here in town. She's amazing. She does a lot of gut testing and micronutrient testing. And there's more and more integrative and functional physicians available too, even in New Jersey, believe it or not. And you find out what you personally need. And then you do it. You do it and you get retested and you see how your body's responding. Because our basic B vitamins, yes, we should definitely be getting from food. But most of us are deficient in B12. Many of us are deficient in B9. And I have a personal story to tell you. A lot of you know that my twins are 22 years old. And when I had them premature, high risk, in vitro, the whole thing, I had a wonderful, wonderful high risk doctor, Dr. Corey. And after I had the babies, they did some blood work and he did genetic testing, which really shocked me. My homocysteine levels were up. I had no idea what homocysteine was. I knew nothing about nutrients back then. And the nurse called me and said, you should be taking some B vitamins. I'm like, yeah, okay. Like everybody else. Yeah, okay. So a couple of years later, I started to learn about genetics and MTHFR, and I realized that this is really important that I take these B vitamins. And that's me. That's me genetically. My homocysteine levels were up. Homocysteine is an amino acid that if it builds up in the blood, can be very harmful. That's what builds up when athletes have heart attacks on the field because they don't have enough of the folate and even the other, the B6 and the B12, to balance it out. Again, you could do more research and learn more, but in a nutshell, homocysteine is an amino acid in the blood, and elevated levels have been linked to dementia, heart disease, stroke, and osteoporosis. Well, that's just about everything, isn't it? That's important. And those of you who do know me know that my mom had early onset Alzheimer's much younger than me. She was late 50s. And this is what really inspired my whole journey. So it was really important that I start taking activated B vitamins and stay in tune to that. And you may not know until you do some testing or even some genetic testing to find out that maybe you have MTHFR variations that you don't convert the B vitamins either. That's what was happening for me. I had an MTHFR variation, just one, not two, luckily. People who have severe depression, anxiety, quite often have what they call a homozygous MTHFR variation. I know that's fancy stuff, but once you hear something like that, then you hear it again and it starts to make sense. And if a doctor or Donna or Megan or one of our great nutritionists or dietitians talks to you about it, then you'll hear it again and say, oh, okay, so I need to do this because I have that. Just tell me what to do. So the good news is the homocysteine can be lowered very easily and inexpensively with a trio of B vitamins. Guess which ones? And this is from Harvard. I didn't make this stuff up. B6, B12, and B9. B9 is the folic. So just a word about folic, because folic and folate, there's a lot of discussion on that. If you do not have that double mutation of the MTHFR, you are probably okay in taking folic. This is folic. Folic and folate are pretty much the same thing. It's just how it converts in your body. If you absolutely can't convert folic, you should take the active form of folate. and there's actually an MTHFR version of folate. That's not this. So I don't want you to buy this if you have a double mutation of MTHFR. But if you don't, you should absorb, even if you have one mutation like I do, you should absorb at least 50%. And there's a lot in here. I think it's 600 micrograms. Yep, 600 micrograms of the B9. So that's a really good portion. And you know, too, if you've been taking our sprays or you've gotten your D levels up or your iron levels up, these are so highly absorbable, 4, 5, 6 times more absorbable than capsules or pills. So even if you absorb half of it, you should be fine. So we're talking about heart health tonight. I am going to give a special on the heart health kit. I'd like to give you guys $10 off if you want to order that, or really any kit, but I'm going to have you use the code HEART10, capital letters, HEART 10. And of course, in honor of Valentine's Day and our love for ourselves and our family. So I was starting to mention that we're talking about heart health, but if you take care of your cardiovascular health, and you do that also by trying to keep your blood sugar levels in check, you will be rewarded in so many ways, both cognitively, energy-wise, exercise. It's all about your circulation. Not even to mention your private life and having a partner where you'd like to be able to perform. It's really important to keep your circulation up to par and do whatever you need to, because it's not just about your heart, it's about your brain, it's about your liver, it's about your muscles. We didn't talk today about CoQ10, but we've talked about it before. That's another piece really in the puzzle for heart health. So does anybody have any questions? Hi, Donna. So glad you're here. Thanks, Doreen. Our products are very great. I know they're wonderful. And if you know anyone who has poor absorption or iron levels are deficient, send them our way. We'll always give them a coupon to get started, and they'll work, I'm sure. So some people do have some MTHFR, and they've learned about it because they've gone to the right people to find out. Do you recommend the folate spray over the activated B complex? No, I actually take the activated B complex myself. That's an isotonic product I've been taking for many years since I found out from Dr. Corey about my MTHFR, and I won't stop because it has all of the B vitamins. They're all in the active form, and I really just take this in the afternoon. I don't absolutely have to take this, but I really like to keep my B12 levels up, and it has all 3 in there. So you can take both or just continue to take your activated B. One thing I think all of you ladies have learned about me is I am so willing to recommend any other products that I think you need to have. Our sprays are wonderful, but they're not an end all. If somebody needs digestive enzymes or calcium or magnesium, I wanted to mention zinc tonight too. I'll tell you, just private message me or email me. I'll give you a brand. I'll take a picture of maybe what I take. I really want to encourage everyone now during COVID, trying to prevent COVID, to take 30 milligrams of zinc every day. I buy a nice product. It's in a raw form. It's about $20 or $25. It's not super expensive, but it's not super cheap. They're saying between 20 and 50 milligrams a day. You don't want to take too much zinc because it can build up. Again, it's a mineral. But you should be taking zinc. You should be taking C, 500 to 1,000 a day. You should be spraying our immune spray, which has some zinc, some lysine, some D, and some C, and it creates a barrier from viruses if you're going out. We spray it a few times a day if we feel like we're getting some type of sore throat or something like that, and they typically doesn't go anywhere. And so D, C, of course, your vitamin D, C, zinc. And if you have any other questions, I'm taking some other things that are for antioxidants that we don't really have in our sprays. So I'd love to share them with you if there's anything that any questions that you might have. Is a liposomal zinc? Great question, Erica. Liposomal is wonderful because liposomal means that it's almost already kind of like, excuse the term digested, but broken down so your body can use it. Liposomal is usually more expensive, but very, very absorbable. I would definitely check for sure with Donna, since you're working with Donna, and anybody else that has questions. I can always check with some of my nutrition and physician network that help me if I don't have the answer to a question. All right, so does anybody else have any other questions? So don't forget, if you'd like to order for yourself or for someone else, I'm going to keep that coupon code good for the rest of the month. It's Heart10, just off your order. It could be off one spray, it could be off a kit, it could be off, it can't really be off the auto ship, but we do have a code for that. If you want to get on some type of an auto ship for a kit, you just use free ship, and then you get free shipping on the auto for any of the kits. So everyone stay well, have a wonderful Valentine's Day. I hope you're able to spend some time with your loved one or your loved ones. Karen, you just got on, my sister. Is K necessary with D? Yeah, it really is. Some docs will say, hey, if your vitamin K levels are tested with a good micronutrient test and your K levels are okay, then your K levels are okay, then you may not need to take it. But I work with a couple of great doctors, and they're hell bent over having the K2 right with the D, when you're taking it. One of those is Dr. Luco, who I always talk about. He's a rheumatologist, he's European, and he buys these all the time for his patients. And then now I just started working with Dr. Odorchuk for my own personal health. And she explained it so well that if you're taking the D, but you don't have the K2, it's kind of like bringing the groceries in, putting them on the floor, but never really putting them into the cabinets or into the refrigerator. So the D, you might be taking it, but it's not transporting really where it needs to go. So yes, my spray has both. That's why we created it. And I'm not sure if we're going to continue with the regular D3, but I do have a lot of people who buy this for the 5,000. So whatever you need, we have. If anybody, it seems like more people are able to get on at night, so I think I'm going to do these at night once or twice a month. If anybody has any subjects that they'd like me to talk about, I plan on getting some guest speakers. I hope to get Dr. Luco in. Maybe Donna will come on one time. We have a woman who does hypnotism for weight loss. That'll be fun. I think she's been so busy with the new year that she hasn't been able to join me. That's Kathy Linder. She's now in North Carolina, in Charlotte. She was from Montville. So let me know if there's any subjects that you'd like to do. I think we are going to focus on weight loss on our next one. And I will go over the weight loss kit with the MetaBoost and the B12. And we have a few more new sprays coming in the next few months. So stay tuned. All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in. Stay well and keep your heart healthy.